Hello chess friends and welcome to Azarov Chess channel and welcome back to the TCEC Season 26 Super Finals between the two top engines Stockfish 16 and Leela C0. As I'm recording this video after 99 rounds out of the 100 rounds that they have to play in the Super Finals, Stockfish has now huge advantage. Stockfish has now plus 14 result and is of course the winner of a new TCEC season. The result after 99 rounds is 56.5 points for Stockfish and only 42.5 points for Leela C0. In the last game, Stockfish is also playing with the white pieces, could I think also win the game, so the result after 100 rounds could be even plus 15 for the fish, which is I think a huge difference. After 100 rounds, Stockfish simply dominating over the Leela C0, and I think the huge really difference in their game is simply in this defensive approaches. Stockfish always finds tactical ideas to somehow get a draw even in the seemingly bad position that was prearranged of course by the organizer. We know that the organizer, the TCEC, is setting up some different positions, some different openings, and then they have to play one game with the white pieces and then the other reverse game they have to play with the black pieces. So always Stockfish managed to somehow pull off some tactics and maybe get a draw. On the other hand, Leela C0 never found the best defensive ideas, so that's why I think it's a huge difference in these two top engines. So Stockfish is simply so much stronger than Leela C0. So I've sorted out one particular game that I think shows really the differences in their defensive approaches, in which Stockfish found simply the best defensive idea, but the Leela C0 didn't find it. And then when you don't find the best defensive idea against Stockfish, you know what happens. Stockfish will brutalize you with immortal tactics all over the board. So in my opinion, the game that I'll show you here is also one of the best chess games from this TCEC Season 26 for sure. So let's see now what happened with the white pieces. Here the fish opened with the move e4, but as I said, it's not like Stockfish is choosing to play the move e4. We're still in the prearranged opening by the organizer. So c5 still prearranged, the Sicilian, knight to f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight to d4, knight to f6, modern stuff, knight to c3, and now we have the Scheveningen Sicilian after move e6. Of course, this flexible pawn structure allows you later to push the pawn on e5 or d5, whatever the position is allowing you. So we have now the move f4, which is now the so-called Matanovic attack. A very aggressive approach. The downside a little bit of course for white is that you're endangering your king further, because when the king is coming on g1, then the king could be vulnerable to dark squares. We have now the move a6, but we're still of course in the prearranged opening. We have bishop to e2, bishop to e7, castling, king to h1, tiny little improvement of the king, queen to c7, bishop to queen to e1, knight to d7, bishop to f3, and now the last move that was prearranged by the organizer was now the move rook to e8. And okay, this move allows you, of course, to get a new square for the knight. Knight to f8 seems pretty solid, protecting your king. And now you see really the differences in their defensive approach here by Stockfish and Leela C0. Stockfish, like Leela C0, Leela also played now this next move with the white pieces. Stockfish played now the aggressive g4. You see now we have three pawns that are marching here on the king side, that trying, of course, to attack. e5 maybe in some lines is possible if black doesn't react correctly. f5, g5, so many great things Stockfish prepared here with the white pieces. So as I said, Leela played also the same position, but now in the game in which Leela C0 played with the white pieces and Stockfish played here with the black pieces, then Stockfish played now the move knight to f8, which is simply the best defensive approach. You're keeping your position healthy. You didn't push any pawns in front of your king. You didn't weaken your king, and now you get also a new defender into the game. The knight on f8 is always protecting the h7 square. If you want to, for instance, push the pawn on g5, then you have also cleared the square for this other knight. Then the knight from the 6th rank can come to d7. Still, white should be much better because of the space advantage, but I think as a defensive approach, as a defensive strategy, this move is much more powerful than the move that Leela C0 played. After move g4 that Stockfish played, Leela C0 played the risky h6. And you see now, you didn't clear the square d7 for your knight. You didn't play knight to f8. You messed up a little bit also your pawn structure in front of the king, so that's why Stockfish pushes the pawn further, plays also actually a theoretical novelty, a move that has not been played so far in chess history. In chess history, h4 has been played, then trying to push the pawn to g5. But Stockfish is of course an attacking monster. Stockfish plays g5 anyway. So after h takes g5, we have f takes g5. The knight has to step back. You see now it's not the same. Stockfish with this move knight to f8, as I said, cleared also the square for this other knight. The knight should have been now already here on d7. So after move knight to h7, Stockfish continues with bishop to h5, immediately attacking the weakness on f7. g6 by Leela, and now comes a stunning tactic already. We're now in move 16, and Stockfish brutalizes Leela's defense with a stunning knight takes e6. Really wild stuff. What should you do? If you try here f takes e6, then bishop to g6 is coming. Then you try maybe rook to f8, getting a new defender, getting also out of the attack of the bishop. Now we play bishop to f4, and whatever you do. For instance, you could maybe try even to sacrifice the rook for the exchange here to somehow get new defenders into the game. But look at this, rook to g4. You're trying maybe to get finally this other knight into the game. You take. Now we attack further the bishop on the g file. This wasn't playing the game. I wanted to show you what could have happened after potential f takes e6 if Leela c0 would have taken the knight on e6. Then after queen to h4, you're trying to cover, but now look at this, the heavy artillery is coming through here, and this is devastating position. Game over here for black. Instead of this move rook to f4, what you could try is maybe try to get another piece into the defense, also liberating the diagonal for the light square bishop. But now bishop to h7, queen is coming here, or through h6. You're trying maybe, I don't know, b5, trying somehow to get the bishop here. But now simply take out the most important defender, and now even rook to f6 is working. Look at this, bishop to f6, g takes f6, and now the threat is rook to g1. Game over. You can maybe try rook to h7, but look at this, rook to g1. The only defensive move here is maybe trying queen to a7, anticipating the possibility of rook to g1. Then you sack the queen for the rook. Game over. But even if you try to escape with your king, then the queen is lined up on the 7th rank again. Game over here for black. So see, after knight to e6, you cannot actually take the knight. But Leela c0 continued with queen to c4, attacks now the knight in a different way. Stockfish continues now with a powerful knight to d5. Look how the fish is attacking. No one can play chess like this. Look at this, knight to d5, f takes e6. Stockfish allows Leela c0 to take, but now the knight is coming in the most powerful way into the game. Knight from h to f6. We have g takes f6, and again, what should you do? If you try here g takes h5, then queen to g3 is coming, you're getting checkmated, it's not working. If you try here knight to f6, then bishop to g6 is coming, you're trying maybe e5 again to get a new defender into the game. But now bishop to g5, we simply get an attack against the knight. You may be trying bishop to h3, rook to f3, bishop to g4, and again the g file attack bothers here black in the continuation of the game. You're trying king to g7, we take, now we take the rook, take the bishop, and game over here for black. So you see, after this g takes f6 idea, there's always the problem on the g file. The king is lined up, and the queen is always coming maybe in the attack through the h file. So it's always something that bothers black in the continuation of the game. And it's not like these pieces can be included in the defense. So Stockfish noticed that the bishop on c8 and also the rook on a8 are simply stuck there. They're not participating in the game. Stockfish attack can be very fast. Bishop maybe here, queen here, rook here, and then this other rook is coming. So with every tempo, Stockfish can actually include a new attacker into the game, while Leela c0 cannot include a new defender into the game. That's the huge difference, how we should evaluate chess, how many pieces are actually really participating in the game. So that's really a great attack. After g takes f6, Leela c0 gets out of this potential bishop to g6 attack. So it's trying now to compete also here on the f file. But now Stockfish plays b3, kicks away the queen. If the queen steps back here to c7, then you know the grip. Then we simply take out the bishop. You're trying to trade it off, and look at this, we can promote. Game over again here for black. So after b3, Leela c0 actually, I don't know if this would be a human game. I think this next couple of moves by Leela c0 would be very logical. Leela c0 takes out now the rook, doesn't want to tolerate anymore this activity by the rook. Queen to f1, and plays now bishop to f6, which seems really logical. Of course, the bishop is hanging now. Also, the rook is hanging on a1. But that's the beauty about this game. Stockfish calculated everything here. Look at this. After bishop to f6, Stockfish sacrifices even the rook on a1. After bishop to a1, the queen is coming now. This of course threatening the checkmate on h7. You have to now play knight to f6, getting a new defender into the game. We have bishop to h6. What should you do? If you try, of course, rook to f7, then we simply play queen to g3. You're trying maybe to do something like this. Then with c3, we lock out this defender. We lock out simply the bishop out of the game. You're trying maybe b5, but now bishop to h5 check, and now we pick up the rook. Game over again here for black. So this is not working. So after bishop to h6, Leela C0 tried bishop to d7, is desperately really trying somehow to get the bishop into the game. Stockfish continues with queen to g3, king to h8, queen to h3. We have a couple of repetitions, and now for king to h8, queen to h4. Again, attacking indirectly, of course, the king. Stockfish is trying bishop takes f8, which of course comes with a check. Leela C0 again has to step back, and now Stockfish goes closer with the queen against the king. Again, king to h8 has to be played, and now queen to h4. We have king to h8, and now comes again the same idea that we have seen previously, c3, locking out the dark square bishop out of the game, because you cannot actually play bishop takes c3, then queen to g3 comes with a direct threat against the bishop, and also with this indirect threat against the king on the g file. So again, you would have to step back, and now we simply pick up the piece. Game over here for black. c3, brilliant move here by the fish. We have rook from a to c8. Now finally Leela c0 brings all of the pieces in the defense, but it's a little bit too slow. Queen to g5, again king to h8 has to be played, and now e5. Stockfish is brutalizing here this dark square bishop. This dark square bishop actually is supposed to defend black's king, but Stockfish is not allowing that. Played c3 in the first place, and now e5, paralyzing really simply this whole diagonal on the dark squares. We have d takes e5, queen to h4, again king to g8, and now bishop to h5, liberating now for really the g file, threatening queen to g5. What should you do? If you try king to h8 here, then bishop to g6, and again you're trying something like this, bishop to h5, then bishop to g5, you're trying king to g8. Look at this, we simply pick up the knight. Again, game over here for black. After bishop to h5, Leela took now here the light square bishop on h5. Stockfish continues, of course, with queen to h5, and has now the huge threat of queen to g6. You cannot play, of course, bishop to e8, then queen to g5, queen to g7 is again winning the game. So that's why rook to f7, trying to cover the 7th rank, but now Stockfish found this idea and simply took the rook. And still it's not over, I think, for black. Many players with the white pieces in human level, I think, would not win this game because black has still really solid material on the board. 2 bishops, a rook, also the pawns on the e file, but there is a huge problem here for white, for black, pardon me, that white is here still a pass pawn on the h file. If this pawn would not be on the board, I think this could be defendable for black, because black could maybe build a sort of fortress, trying to keep everything glued together. Maybe I don't know, play something like bishop to d6, bishop to d5, taking out this pawn, getting maybe the king, if possible, somehow towards the queen side, and play really a solid fortress and hope for a draw. But when the pawn is here on the h file, Stockfish has always an endgame idea to somehow push the pawn further and at least deflect the defenders in front of black's king. So that's why bishop to c6, we have a new check by Leela c0 against the king. Stockfish escapes now also to f1, bishop to c3. Leela is finally getting the dark square bishop into the game. Queen to f6 check. You have to now play something like this. You cannot take, of course, the bishop. The rook is lost, so that's why king to h8. Again, bishop to e3, now rook to g7. We have queen takes e6, bishop to d4, bishop takes d4, e takes d4. You see now the position is now cleared really, but the huge problem is now the passer on the h file. Although Leela c0 has also the pass pawn on the d file, if black plays carelessly, if black somehow gets the piece somewhere, black is always vulnerable to some checks, and maybe the piece is hanging. So Stockfish could always play maybe a double attack against the king and also against the piece here, maybe against the bishop, against the rook. So black has to be really careful what to do here in this endgame. So after e takes d4, we have a4 by Stockfish, rook to d7, king to e2, d3, rook to king to d2. Still this pass pawn is of course what bothers black. We have king to g7, h3, h4, queen to e5, rook to d7, queen to e5, rook to d7. Now Stockfish simply pushed the pawn further, rook to g7, and now king to d3. Stockfish grabbed the pawn, king to h6, check by Stockfish. Again, you cannot take the pawn, the rook is hanging. Stockfish simply gets the king closer, and now corners here the king on the queen side is trying now to play b4 and then b5, because the only way for black to make a draw here is black builds a fortress somehow. Fortress ideas I think are working here, but with the potential move b5, the bishop has to move somewhere when the bishop is attacked, and then you're again, as I mentioned before, when the bishop is loose, when the bishop is not supported by the pawn, it could be endangered maybe by a check, and then your bishop is hanging somewhere. So that's why very cool idea here by Stockfish, king to b6, trying to finally push the pawn on b5. We have rook to g8, Stockfish plays king to a5, bishop to g2. Now comes this idea, b5, a takes b, and now rook to g8. Stockfish pushes the pawn further. We have rook to g6, queen to f4, trying of course to cover everything. So here in the continuation, king to g8, we have now queen to c7, b6 here by Leela c0, and Stockfish simply gets the king closer. We have bishop to h1, h7, and now the position is collapsing, queen to f7, attack against the rook. We have a check, and here you see, as I mentioned before, now comes this check, queen to h5, king to g8, and now this bishop is lost. Game over here for black, and actually in this particular position, Leela c0 resigned. So great attack by Stockfish, really monstrous tactics all over the board. But as I said in the beginning, already huge problems for Leela c0 because of this different defensive approach with the move h6. Knight to f8, much more solid. Even in this position, white should be much better, but at least you're not weakening the pawn structure in front of the king. You have this defensive score for the knight on d7. Very huge difference between Stockfish 16 and Leela c0. So okay, congratulations again to the developers of the Stockfish engine. Stockfish is getting really stronger and stronger. Stockfish really dominated in this new TCEC season. If you want to see some other games that we have covered from this TCEC competitions, but also some other AI chess games which are really crazy, you can check out my commented chess games played by computer series. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.